my name is Pat McNamara. I did 22 years in Army Special Operations. I retired in '05. I teach tactical marksmanship. I teach combat strength training.
My name is Chris Moyer. Nickname is Dutch. Pretty much for the last 35 years or so. 31 years United States Army, 26 of those in Special Operations Command.
My name is Rick Hogg. I'm a 29-year U.S. Army Special Operations combat veteran. I've taken my time as a Special Forces Advanced Urban Combat Instructor, a Special Operations K-9 handler, in my 13 combat deployments to both Iraq and Afghanistan.
Jamey Caldwell, 21 years Army Special Operations, spent about 7 years in Ranger Battalion, and then 14 years in another Tier 1 counterterrorism unit.
Most of the guys here that are with us today, I've served with. So Rick, Dutch, Jamey, we all served together in the same unit around the same time.
Bourbon has been a part of my military career probably for certainly the last 30 years. And every time we go to the team room, discuss after action review, bourbon. If you toasted in mates coming into the element, right? Bourbon. If you toasted men out of the element, bourbon. If you were at an event where you were putting one of your mates in the ground, bourbon.
So before Jamey gets here with his American muscle, talk about Charlotte just a little bit.
I want to see
you
it.
guys have seen the outside. So
Power plant.
389, all original matching numbers car. The only thing I've done is some bolt-on stuff. Like I took out that little radiator and put in a big aluminum radiator, headers, better air box, but took some of the steel off, all new insulation, rubber, roof rail, front end rebuild kit, but all OEM, none of that Restomod BS.
Original carb?
Yep, original 4-barrel Carter. So these came with either tri-power or 4-barrel, and this is 4-barrel. Tri-power's cooler and a few more ponies, but harder to keep tuned.
Way harder to keep tuned.
Yeah.
3 different carbs you can
Yep. So I have a book with all of the original.
You got all her
all the original paperwork.
all her medical dates, prom pictures.
Yep, original bill of sale. I hear Jamey, check that out. Nice.
Well.
Nice. let me drop this hood down now. Don't get jealous, Charlotte.
Well.
Brother Jamey, how you doing?
It'll be all right. She only RPMs over 8,000. So. As far as bourbon goes, I like to try a lot of different flavors. You know, I'm still fairly new to the bourbon game, so Angel's Envy fan. I love some Jefferson, and of course, I got a nice bottle of Weller 12 at the house.
Brother Paul.
I brought some bourbon for you boys.
Woo, hell yeah. Sit her down there so I can greet you properly.
My name is Paul Coughlin. I am the owner of Taconic Distillery, and until recently, I was one of the owners of Colt Firearms. I met Pat McNamara probably 6 years ago. I entered one of his courses in Virginia. Had a great time, but have kept in touch and done his courses every single year.
One of the best things about getting together is just discussing those old times and hanging out, telling lies is what we say, but it's great therapy for all of us.
Thanks for coming too, by the way. And I appreciate all you guys being here. Excuse my friggin' rinky-dink setup with a Pelican box and plastic Adirondack chairs, but I think it will suffice. Boom!
It'll work.
Let it
It'll
rip,
work.
Tater Chip.
All right, so I brought some Yankee bourbon down. Our #1 seller, Dutch's Private Reserve.
Mash bill. Is it my private reserve?
It's your. Well, it's spelled with. I need an apostrophe in here, but I think with a Sharpie we can fix it.
I appreciate you.
Mac,
So
you got a
this is-
Sharpie on you?
Yep.
Let's fix
So
that.
this is our 90 proof #1 seller. The mash bill, as I know Dutch wants to know,
I do.
70% corn, 25% rye, 5% malted barley. So I'll pour a little bit. You guys can try it.
Do we consider this a high rye?
That will be considered a high rye bourbon.
Right
There's
on.
Rick.
What's the industry standard? How is that? So
I would
is it
say
20, is it 15, 20? What is
I would say that anything above 15% in the industry would be deemed a high rye bourbon.
Say that again.
So
Anything what?
Anything
Yeah.
above 15%.
Right.
So
Okay.
So Bourbon always uses a mixing grain. The primary grain is rye, so corn, rye, malted barley.
Right.
The other grain that's used would be wheat. Some of the famous wheated bourbon would be the Pappy Van Winkle, Maker's Mark, one of your favorites, and the Wellers. And then some of the smaller ones would be Larceny. But in terms of larger brands, this would mimic probably a Knob Creek and a Woodford in terms of mash bill.
And to me, you can go too far with the wheat. You really can. You can. I think to me, again, of
Right.
course,
Because
you
it
can
tastes
move
weedy.
It does taste weedy.
Really? Yeah. It's like, you know, they do it with beer. This is freaking sweet. Paul, this is absolute redemption for you wearing flip-flops here.
Yeah, I know. Well, I figured with four
we were going to
unit
talk about the
guys,
flip-flops, were we?
Yep.
I figured with 4 unit guys, I was safe in this neighborhood that I wouldn't have to run fast.
That is definitely.
Like I told you before, if you do something dynamic, right, the flip-flops come off,
Yep.
you get glass in your
You get a
feet,
splash.
like John McClane and Nakatomi Plaza,
Perfect.
which, by the way, is the best Christmas movie of all time.
Absolutely.
May I have a small amount of...
And it is a Christmas movie.
You can see we've got some different glasses here. We've
Yeah.
got the rocks glass, which is normally how I
Yep.
drink my bourbon. I enjoy ice, and you know, from what I've learned, bourbon, it's up to you how you want to drink
Yeah.
your bourbon. There is no set way of neat, which is no ice, just straight out of there. You can add a little water, or you can add some ice. So here we do have some different tasting glasses.
Yep.
I'm going to elaborate a little bit.
So
on
I would say I'm a fan of the rocks glass, which is what Pat and Rick have. This is a Glencairn whiskey glass. The reason why people like to drink out of this is you can spin it around and you're going to get a really, really good nose coming right up out of here.
Okay,
So you'd be tasting this, you would be making cocktails, drinking neat, 1 ice cube in that. Rare you put anything besides a drop of water and maybe a small ice cube in a Glencairn glass, but a traditional whiskey glass.
So, okay, you got some nice cinnamon in here. You got some spices in here. You got vanilla in here.
Oh, yeah.
What else you got in here?
I'm going to use the cheat sheet.
We got some, I brought the cheat sheet for you guys. We've got some chocolate chip cookies,
I'm not sure I get chocolate in there.
some fresh cut grass.
Fresh cut
Let's
grass.
back.
You smell any freedom in there?
Yes.
Yeah. When I went to get glasses, I didn't have my glasses on, so I didn't know that I was
Paul,
buying
man.
ladies' glasses.
It ends up working. I pick
all
up
right
a little
with it.
bit of that chocolate chip cookie.
I don't know how many of you guys have visited distilleries, but what shocks people is all distillate comes off the still clear. Bourbon, rye, rum,
right.
scotch comes off, looks like water.
What's your white dog?
So if you taste it off the still at 155 proof, all you guys are gonna taste is corn, rye, and barley.
Right. Very nice.
All right.
Very
So the wood is obviously going to give you about 60% of your flavor, and the wood is going to give you 100% of your color.
Right.
So when you have all that movement with temperature deltas moving in and out of the wood, that's when you get all the interactions with the cookies, the vanilla,
And
the
how
fresh
long?
cut grass.
And what kind of wood is that one? Now I know bourbon. So bourbon's a law. There's laws here. It has to be a brand new white oak.
I'll give you
cask.
the elevator pitch on bourbon. It is the most specced out alcohol in the world. All right. So first, 1964 Act of Congress, uniquely an American spirit.
Correct.
Can be made in any of the 50 states,
Any.
Puerto Rico and DC. Okay. So it has the same geographical protection as Scotch, Irish whiskey, champagne, cognac. So we can make a Scotch, but we have to call it American single malt. The Europeans can make bourbon, but it has to be called American whiskey. That designation, we own it. Has to be a minimum of 51% corn.
Yep.
Most of the bourbon you're drinking commercially is 70 to 80% corn. We went through what the mixing grains are. Has to be distilled at below 160 proof. Has to go into new charred oak, any kind of oak barrels, at 125 proof or below. The second that it touches that barrel, it becomes bourbon. Once the bourbon has been in the barrel for 2 years, it gets the designation straight bourbon whiskey.
Yep.
So I always tell people, nothing wrong with bourbon whiskey, but don't ever pay a lot of money for something that hasn't had the investment of at least 2 years. Anything less than 4 years old, you have to put an age statement somewhere on the bottle. Since I mentioned earlier, all of our stuff is at least 4 years. This is 4.5 years old. Is over 4 years old. You will see no age statement on our label. when we'll put an age statement back on, and when you see guys, I think Knob Creek started to take it off, but you've got your Eagle Rare, all that, your Pappies. Anytime that age statement goes back on the bottle, it's to get a premium price
Sure is.
for your product.
Knob Creek's 9.
I think they took the age statement off, which means they're going to sell more bourbon. They're going to start digging into their inventories. Yeah.
When we talk about it being American, it's an American drink, and that whole process of how regulated bourbon is, that's what turned me onto bourbon. That's what got me interested in it. And it's not an alcoholic by any means, but saying this, all the drinking I've done over the years, mixed drinks. I mean, I used to like to drink like Jack and Cokes and, Coke and coconut rum. It tastes good, right? Yeah. But you wake up the next morning and I felt like shit.
Yep.
And a lot of it is, but a lot of it, is the excess, but it's the sugars. Yeah. It's everything that's put into it. And that's what made me start looking at bourbon, because it is all natural ingredients. It's put into a charred oak barrel. There's certain, there are parameters it has to meet. And then it comes out of the barrel and it goes into the bottle. The only thing that you can do to it is age it a second time in some other barrel, or add water to bring the proof down to where you want. Other than that, you can't touch it. If you add sugar, if you add coloring, if you add anything else to it, now it's a whiskey.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It loses
Right, so
designation.
all bourbon is whiskey, but not all whiskey is bourbon.
Yeah.
I enjoy bourbon. I think like a lot of Americans do. It is a pure American drink, American beverage. The history dates way back in time, and the philosophy behind it is just really unique and cool. That's what got me into it, was how pure it is. A lot of people like to have mixed drinks and there's lots of sugar and different stuff in it. Bourbon is pure. Everything comes from the earth right here in America, and it is an amazing drink. I was in Tora Bora in the beginning of the 01 when we were up there chasing bin Laden, and we initially thought, hey, we're gonna go up there, we're moving through. Dude, we ended up getting up to 8,000 feet. Mm-hmm. I think you were there, weren't you? Or you weren't there yet? Nope. Okay. We had brought up with us a poncho liner and a bivvy sack cover to sleep in.
That's plenty enough.
That's plenty. And this is December, in the mountains at 8,000 feet. It's snowing on us. Yep. We're freezing. And talk about just basic tactics and basic dude stuff, right?
Yeah.
We're trying to survive up there. Mm-hmm. It's snowing. We're freezing our butt off. And we're looking around. And what we're doing at night is you see all these campfires. And we're basically like, this is me, fire mission over.
Right.
Because all the bad guys are just having a fire. And then we finally go, wait a minute, let's just blend in. Let's start a fire. Finally it's like, okay, get warm, because everybody else is doing it. Right. No big deal. So we finally start a fire. But I can remember sitting there and watching this fire, and we're dropping munitions so close to us on these different ridge lines. And I watched this fire like burning, trying to be warm. And all of a sudden we just, and you'd watch the flame go from the overpressure.
Shit.
But we finally got resupply. Cool, we had some of our guys on the bottom. Greg Birch was one of them. Humped up 3 times all the way up to 8,000 feet with our rucks and different stuff, so that we now had Gore-Tex. We now had the stuff that back then they would die for, that they're doing. But you look at the times, and you feel that with history you learn certain lessons, but then again, some of them you still have to learn the hard way. Those are the ones that stick with you. It's amazing what the human body can do.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty resilient if it's got freaking moxie.
That's it.
Yeah, it's got to have freaking moxie.
Most of it is up here.
The first page in the survival manual. You have to have the will to survive.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So the human body can go through a lot, right? If you have the moxie to do so. Mm-hmm. If you don't have the will,
you're done.
You got to figure that shit out first.
Mm-hmm. Just another segue, I was thinking about these when you talked about the stuff that unit guys can do. Yeah. So I've been doing these Montana trips since '99.
Big Bob.
Yeah, the Bob, right? So the first one I do with B Squadron, I'm trying to explain to these guys how grandiose this shit is. Dude, we're going 95 miles. We're going over 2 mountain passes. It's the second most remote wilderness area in the lower 48 next to Frank Church. I've done that one too, which was brutal. But it's also boasts the highest concentration of grizz in the lower 48. So you're not at the top of the food chain. But So the guys are like, yeah, whatever, we trained for it, you know, and you got a nav. This is a freaking wilderness area, bro. It ain't a national park, you know, you're not following a trail and signs. You know, so you're nabbing 1/24,000 MGRS topographical maps and, you know, time, speed, and distance over shoot points. We just made it over Pagoda Mountain and the Continental Divide, and we're coming down. We haven't seen a soul in 6 days, right? No other people. And in comes in on the drift that we're walking on, a dude on horseback with 6-pack mules. So he's a forest ranger coming in for the season. He's loaded up. And he leans on his horse and he says, hey guys, how's it going? And you know, this is his first log. He's coming in for the season. So he says, you guys fish up here fishing? Yeah, sure, yeah. So he logs down our names and checks our passes. He said, where are you guys coming from? I said, Nimrod. He goes, I know where Nimrod is. How did you get here? I said, well, South Fork of the, middle fork of the Flathead River to Pentagon Creek, over Pentagon Mountain to Pagoda Mountain, over that down to White River, up to the Spotted Bear Pass, over the Divide to Sun River to here. And he's looking at all these dudes. He goes, I've been working up here 14 years. I've never heard of anybody doing that. So that's when the dudes were like, hell yeah, bro. Because I had to tell them, you know, they didn't understand how grandiose this shit was.
Right.
But when they heard that, they were like, all right, good. That's pretty cool. We're freaking.
That's awesome.
We're doing something
man.
that
You're
nobody,
getting ready
that
to
no
do that
humans.
again?
Yeah, I'm doing it next week. Well, I don't do them that far anymore because I bring up stragglers. I bring up people that I don't know who they are and what their condition is. So I go out.
We need to
and
run
back.
a selection
Yes.
prior to the next one where they have to pat. Dude,
Right.
I am telling you,
Yeah,
that
oh,
would
they
be
would
legit.
freaking. Oh yeah, man, they would.
That would be legit. Like,
people would
you
chomp
got
at
to
the bit,
make
man.
it through this selection to even get on this
Well,
trip.
here's the
That could be
freaking.
his
Let me
TV
tell you
show.
this story. I 6 years ago, I did one. So me as a civilian, bringing outsiders, and one of the guys I brought with me was a local guy in town. I'm not gonna. Oh man, I got to be careful in case he watches this thing, you know. But so I put the word out in September. We go in June. So he says, yeah, I've been training. You know, I've been training a lot. I brought 6 map sheets with me. We covered 2. Yeah.
Wow.
We covered 2 map sheets. Yeah.
You got to be ready for that.
Yeah,
like,
man.
A lot of
So-
people just take for granted, like, I can walk. I walk in the park. I go for a walk around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Dude. You get in terrain like that, it's a whole other animal. You get
Terrain, you got elevation.
Elevational crushing,
Yeah.
man.
I mean, I can remember just different stuff we did in selection, where when you are ready for that and you're moving through that terrain, that elevation kills you.
Oh, yeah.
You are smoked. You are out of breath. But the better shape you're in, as soon as you rest for 30 seconds,
right.
you're ready to go
Ready
again.
to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
When you're out of
Reserve.
shape,
It's reserve.
Exactly. When you're out of shape, it takes you 5-10 minutes to be ready to go again.
Yep.
We had gotten some intel that there were some Italians in a pole that had been captive for, I think it was about 6 months. And a source came in, gave the intel, and it was not real credible, just, I mean, some guy walking in on the street. So you go through the process and, you know, you have him vet it. And believe it or not, I mean, he shows right back up with pictures. You know, you send him with a camera, he shows right back up with pictures of them. And within like 20 minutes, we were fully kitted and flying. We're on helos, middle of the day, I mean, daylight assault on this compound. And we go in there and it, you know, happens really fast. I mean, it's hostage rescue. You got to get right in there. So we land right on the X. You know, 4 60s come right in, get in there. I mean, the whole thing was done in like 15 seconds. But I go in there and the first couple rooms you come to, there's guys in there. I see the hostages are in one room. We continue clearing through, actually find the couple guys that were holding them captive. And then as I walk back out, and I walk into the room where the hostages were, it just kind of hit me, you know, from that Charlie Sheen movie where I almost became a SEAL. That scene where he says,
"We're a SEAL team. We're here to get you out."
"We're Navy SEALs. We're here to get you out." And I said that when I walked in the room, and of course all my guys started cracking up and laughing. But the funny part of it was, after it was all said and done, we're back, you know, at our house and just kind of hanging out. The word got back to us that those detainees, the hostages, when they got back to their embassy, they actually asked, like, hey, who were those Navy SEALs that rescued us? And we were like, what? Wait? They're like, yeah, they said they were Navy SEALs. The guy came in the room and said they were Navy SEALs. So I kind of crack up when I hear that one. And there's a video out there. It got leaked. Somebody that had gotten a hold of it put it online, so it is on YouTube. But yeah, it's the Italian job is what we called it. It was a video I made just sort of for the boys after we did it, because I was running a helmet cam. But yeah, it's out there, and that little snippet's in there, and you know, people laugh about it. Nobody really knows the story behind it, but I actually said that when I came in the room.
Oh my God.
Behind the scenes, you're sitting there going, holy crap, man. I am like working nobody's business.
You roll up the hill saying to somebody, this is not the speed at which you will complete this course.
Oh, I know it, man.
It's the first time anybody ever told me that, of course, when I was a student, and I'm going, I'm absolutely fucked. I'm not gonna make it then.
Right.
Holy fucking shit.
Twofer.
Yeah, there we go.
Twofer.
Yep, I was a twofer.
Yeah.
I got to go twice.
Oh, yeah.
Rick,
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Same thing.
Twofer.
all of us.
Yep.
Oh, you
Did
twofer?
you? Yeah, nice.
Spring,
Yep.
followed by a fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how
Spring
far?
followed by
How
spring.
far did you make the first time?
So here's the thing. I made it.
Here's the
to,
thing. Here's the thing.
Yeah,
Rick,
Here come the
Rick, here's the
stories.
thing.
Here come the stories.
Here's the thing. So made it to the 40. Critical error. You know, not hydrating myself.
Yep.
And yeah, dude. You know, so
You got sicky?
There's,
No,
I mean,
I
this
didn't
is
get
this
sicky.
good lesson learns here.
I got
Lesson
so
learns,
I
right?
got so jacked up
Yeah.
that after I crossed the bridge, going, hey, where you going? You know, where you at? Where you going? I'm going here. No. Oh, okay. So you go back, replied, yeah, you're going here. You know, dude, I was just so dehydrated at that point that mental cog skills were not there. Poor decisions made. Yeah, and the rest is just
Come here.
yeah. Well, no, they didn't stop.
All good.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
It was me just hitting.
We're
that.
like, great, we're going to have to fire up the heat a little
Hit
bit.
it,
This
hit
guy
it,
later.
hit it. And that was it.
Yep.
You hit your overdue time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Fuck, I gotta pull out this radio thing.
Yep.
575.
Yeah.
This is
Dude, so that was-
5719er. I'm fucking lost. Over.
That was it. I was done, dude.
This is Blue 21.
I had no cog skills at that point. You know, I was literally, I knew how to pull the radio out. I knew how to kind of talk on it, but nothing made sense. So, yeah.
Me, I broke my ankle on day one. High walker. And I walked on it for the entire instructional phase.
Yeah. Dang.
Yep. And
No surprise there, though.
no, fuck, man. But the thing is, you know, I knew that they're gonna. I was like, they're gonna think I'm retarded, you know, because they knew it was because I had to go ask a medic for an ACE wrap and like some meds.
Yeah.
So I cashed in my chips, man. I was a VW,
Okay.
and they invited me back because they knew I was jacked up.
Yeah.
I had to cut my boots open to get them on, and then duct tape up my boot every day.
Man.
Yeah.
I overtrained.
Yep. Yep.
I was coming from 175.
Yep.
So I'm like, man,
Hey,
you know the
hold
deal.
on.
Yeah.
Give me some of that,
Yeah.
cuz-
First Ranger Battalion.
Uh-huh.
So we have nothing but flat terrain to train on.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing a lot of stairs, you know, stadium stuff, running
Yep.
distance, but you know, young and dumb, running with a rucksack. Just
Oh, yeah.
my knees were done. I was at my peak when I got there.
Yeah.
So I got there and then
Overtrained,
throughout
yep.
everything
Not unusual,
else.
yeah, not unusual.
Yeah, not unusual. I just, by day 4, I was trying to eat 800 Motrin like they were candy. I could not run anymore on any uphill terrain.
Yeah.
I had to like walk and my knees were on fire. I knew it was coming. I just kept going, and when I went to the board, they're like, "Hey, we appreciate you didn't quit. You know, we knew you had been injured, and you kept going. Like you to come back." And I had plantar fasciitis in both feet. Both my knees were trashed. I went right back. That was a fall class. I went right back in spring.
I did a
I was
year.
like, I want it, and I went right back in spring, and
Dutch.
no problem.
Yeah, so just ran myself into problems, right? So I was very confident. I think I did overtrain as well. You know, you get to the point where I'm here, I know I'm good. I'll put this away and keep moving. Then I go, oh shit, I gotta climb that one. I already, you know,
Yeah.
so you're climbing extra.
Right.
So I climbed up and I, you know, just got to a point where it was somewhere in, that park. I'll be very vague.
Oh,
about it.
yes, I know what you're talking about.
I'll be vague
The park,
about it.
yeah.
I think it was 3 or 4 a day, whatever it was, and I got there, and I ended up going back, and the dude that I previously just spoke about, he's like, you know, and you're very autonomous about the whole thing. You're very much a machine if you're an instructor, and guess what? You know, thanks for trying. He didn't say that in exit interview. Somebody else did, but you know, same thing as you though. I got the exit interview was you are welcome to come back and try again.
Man, that's a good feeling, you know.
It's a great feeling.
Oh man, I did not fuck around. That
Scott-
second time, like you said, I overtrained too.
Yep.
I went tired. And that's not the reason I broke my
You don't
ankle.
even know that though. Isn't that
Nope.
funny? You don't
Yep.
know that.
Right. Yep.
You really don't.
Yep.
Scott Miller told me that I was welcome to come back, and that was
Yeah, nice.
And then later on, of course, when you know who these people are, that this is it's a great moment. Scott later on told me when I was in the dining hall. Of course, you're pariah for the most part. Nobody talks to you.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody talks to you.
Right.
Nobody has any reason to talk to you.
Right. Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, I guess obviously this is unusual. He goes, you will find out that this is the reason why you joined the Army.
Yeah.
This is the reason why you came here.
Right.
Yep.
You'll know this. And then, of course, years later, I knew exactly what he was talking about.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
What was the second time, I don't want to use the term easy, but was it still a sufferfest?
Yeah, but the thing is, there was a lot of mystery. The mystique was gone, you know, so the mystery was gone, so it was easier as far as stress level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I spent a week and a half there during like one of the phases, so I knew the lay of the land. So the first time you're stressing out, you're going, what the hell? What about the board? How, do I trust the board? Do I trust these guys are over here? They're all grouped up and they're around a map. And these guys are in a little, you know, the second time you're like,
They just took the toy with you.
yeah, I know what the fuck's going on. Yeah. So because of because the mystery was gone the second time, and I didn't, you know, you don't disclose to anybody that you've been there before. You don't chew the fat with a lot of people.
you don't talk to anybody.
in the selection process, because they might not be there the next day. You don't want to make BFFs with some dude, and then he's not there the next day, because out of a freaking 100 dudes, you're left with 15.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But you got some guys there that are totally lost in the sauce.
Yes.
So, you know, I remember one guy showing up. He's got freaking jump boots on.
Yeah, man.
You know,
Yeah.
he was like a third ID guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bud, do you really know what you're getting yourself into?
What are jump boots?
It's a dress army boot.
Yeah.
It's not something you would wear. Yes.
Full
No,
leather, not very comfortable.
A non-functional
Like
boot.
loafers.
Yeah.
No.
It's
they're
like-
full.
no.
They're full
And you're
boots.
about
But I mean,
the hump.
it's like wearing loafers at a
Yes.
marathon.
Right.
Sure,
Sure.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, a totally unfunctional piece of equipment.
It's a great
But
boot.
sure,
You're dressed greens.
when you're dressed up,
When
when
you're
you're dressed up,
It's a great
going
boot,
very
man.
short.
It's a great boot when you want to
know-
act like you were in World War II.
I had a kid from the 82nd Airborne Division band.
No, my bunkmate was from a band. He was a band guy
went
too.
through with me.
Yes.
Who was?
He played the flute.
Did he have jump
Really?
boots?
Who was
no,
it?
yeah. No, he was squared away.
Okay.
Dude, he made it pretty close to I was rooting for the dude.
Yeah.
He was hilarious. Like, he would come back, you know, during the barracks thing. So
Yeah.
he would come back and he would beat like some of the other guys from Ranger Battalion or SF. Dude, he would let them know it.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, oh man, look, the band member's back before you guys are. What? Would you get lost? Oh my God, dude,
Beat his ass.
he was,
Nice.
no, but he was hilarious. I really wish
for
he
him.
would have made it. He was squared away. He was a good dude. I don't know what motivated him to try. Everybody has their own reasons, but I mean, he made it.
That's
close.
freaking weird that you had because my bunkmate, because the first week there you're in a barracks, you know, you're not out in the woods, you know, bivouacking, and so you're going out every single day doing this instruction thing. And my bunkmate was in the Army band. He brought a freaking guitar with him, and he would sing these freaking lamest tunes, you know, at night, and we're all going, damn man. His last name was Ruger. I remember that. He made it further than I did. Because I broke my ankle, I freaking pulled the plug in a week and a half.
Yeah, that's a little bit.
He made it further than I
Yeah.
did.
So this is a great example of when we talk about the best, not the right, rather than the best.
Right.
Because some
Not
of
the
these
best, the
cats,
right.
a band
Yep.
guy might
Right.
make it. There was a mechanic who made it. When I failed, a mechanic made it, and the only Army school he had was PLDC.
Yep, right.
They don't even call it that anymore, whatever they call it now.
I think
But
it's basic
he couldn't
leaders
possibly pass anything else.
Yeah.
He just wasn't in his culture. It wasn't in his upbringing. It wasn't, Grossman talks about this, right?
Yep.
Grossman talks about there's a certain percentage of people that can go out and shoot somebody in the face, and then they go to sleep at night. Well, Eric was his first name. He couldn't do this. He just couldn't do it. They tried hard to push him through it, but he couldn't do it. He just couldn't.
I want my cigar to be up and down to
Yes.
savor the ash. I want
Right.
a lot of ash, bro.
And
I like some good ash.
No, but that's the mentality there. It's that's that brotherhood and what we do. You do everything you can. You put yourself in harm's way to save your brother, and they're gonna do the same thing for you.
Oh, his freaking team gave him the worst freaking code name, And with his accent, he says, "Yeah, my name's Ivica, code name Pizza."